All right. Well, we're getting everything set up, trying to figure it all out. Somebody's playing with my sign. I don't know what they're playing with, but that's okay. All right. Hopefully, here in just a minute, we will get started at 10 and we'll grab some people in. If not, I've got some stuff planned and we'll just turn this into a live recorded video and we'll go from there. But welcome to our middle school family. Hi, Vanessa. Yes, we are on. That's awesome. And hi, Millie Mom 3. Good morning. How's everybody doing? We're going to get started here in just a minute. I'm sending out an Instagram message, let everybody know we are on and live. And I'm excited. This is going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a good way for us to connect. And hopefully, we will be, I'll be able to take your questions over here in the chat and try to answer those things as they come. Some of them I may not be able to, but I may have to get back to you guys and we'll get it all figured out. So with that, we're about 1 minute away, and then I'll get started with everything. Um, I see you there, Mara. And so I'll be interacting with the chat. I've got a little bit of a study that I want us to do, kind of talking about what's going on and the fear and the worry. And we're going to be looking at Psalm 23 today to kind of help us to come to a calm. About where we're at, what's going on, and knowing that God is in control and how He's in control. So hopefully it'll be good. I see my son on there. So that's fantastic. Hey, Ty, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. And it's 10 o'clock. So let's go ahead and get started. Um, guys, it's crazy right now, right? I mean, a lot of you are probably worried at home. There's a lot of things that um, are nervous and not sure what to do. So if you guys have any questions, please post them in the comments. If you're worried about something, post it there. If it's something private, just say, "Hey, Pastor Luke, I need to talk to you." And after we're done here, I'll write your name down. I've got some paper here. I'll write your name down, and I'll give you a call, text you, hit you up on YouTube or Instagram. So um, I'm here for you guys. That's the number one thing that I want to tell you is I'm here if you need somebody to talk to. If you're worried, if you're nervous about whatever's going on, just reach out to me on any social media. If you have my number, give me a call, email me, any of those things so that we can come together and get through this time together. Normally, we have the church family. Normally, we can call our friends and they can come over. And when we're feeling down, we can grow and um, have each other to lean on. But now we don't because we can't come over and we can't have face to face or interaction. And so we've got to use the technology that we have. And so I want to do this every Thursday at 10. If you guys have questions, if you're doing a Bible study, any of those types of things, and give me suggestions in the chat um, about what you want to learn about, what's questions you have with the Bible, and all of those types of things. So let me know, and I will get to those answers as soon as I can. I see over here that it's not my son, it's my daughter. At least it's one of them. Um, but hopefully both will be getting on soon. Jason, you're welcome, and good morning, Brandon. Um, so it should be good. So let's go ahead and get started with my plan for this morning. And not all of these will be Bible driven. I am going to put out a lot of devotions. I am going to have a lot of spiritual, hopefully spiritual insight, if God blesses me as much on some of these. But I felt with the situation and where we are at that I wanted to address fear and I wanted to address how to overcome it. Um, and so let's go ahead and jump into some of that. Right now, we are in unprecedented times, and I've gotten a few phone calls from students, which I was very encouraged by that they wanted to reach out, talking about fear and what's going on in life. And the virus, how it's going to affect them, how it's going to affect their family, how it's going to affect their grandparents, and what that means for them. And right now is a time that we can be afraid. And it's easy to become afraid. And it's all right to be a little bit fearful. But what we don't want to have happen is we don't want to let the fear control us. We don't want the fear to lead to doubt and doubt to lead to disbelief because that's not true. And so, what I wanted to do this morning is I wanted to look at Psalm 23. Oh, it looks like my chat is disabled, but I'll keep going and then hopefully I'll be able to pop into the chat and see what happens. Hopefully, it jumps back in for us. So I apologize if I don't get to your questions, but I'll try to find those later and we'll get to them. I don't know why I'm disconnected from the chat. That's interesting. All right. Well, we'll try something. We're just going to keep going. We're learning today as well. That's a big part of this is trying to figure out what to do, how to do it, and all of those things. So we'll try to do those things and figure that out. I should ask, can everybody hear me? We'll see if somebody can chat in there. I hope you can hear me. I hope I'm not. It's not just a video of me and my lips moving. So I hope that that is working and that's going on. Also, if you haven't subscribed to this channel before we jump into Psalm 23, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell on. We're going to be putting out all kinds of videos over the next week and things like that. So, um, Psalm 23. I'm going to start off by reading it, and then we'll get a little bit of background, and then we will jump into what the text actually says. So, Psalm 23 says this: The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I lack. He lets me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the quiet waters. He renews my life and he leads me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even when I go through the darkest valley, I fear no danger, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemies. You're anointing my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Only goodness and faithfulness, or excuse me, only goodness and faithful love will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord as long as I live. So, this is probably a psalm that most of us are familiar with. Psalm 23, the Good Shepherd, and it's written by David. And a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot of people, there is a misconception of um, that this was written when David was a young boy with his arms kicked back, his feet up, laying in a grassy plain, watching his sheep. Watching over his sheep as they ate and grazed in the grass. But in all likelihood, and many of the commentators that I looked at and studied from, this isn't the case. More than likely, this is late in David's life. It's even possible that it was during um, his run from his son Absalom. For those of you who may not be familiar with the story, uh, not only was David on the run from King Saul, but later in his kinghood, his son Absalom tried to overthrow King David. And David didn't want to fight against his son, so he ran away and he hid to so that way he wouldn't have to kill his son, or his son wouldn't have to kill him. And so he was in exile and more and this it's possible that he wrote this um, during that time. The other reason that I believe it was later in David's life is because when you look at where it's placed in the book of Psalms, um, it's placed right after Psalm 22. And Psalm 22:1 says this, um, my God, why have you forsaken me? And Psalm 22 is all about the suffering of a follower of Christ and his praise through it. And so we transition from this suffering and this worry about why God has forsaken him to this peaceful psalm about trust and love in God. And I love what this verse says. It says, "The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall lack nothing." I'm using the HCSB version or the CSB version. Um, for this. I feel it's great to communicate to the kids and try to work with them. Um, Sorry, I'm trying to get my chat working. I apologize. Um, so I'm using the HCSB, and the Lord is my shepherd; I shall lack nothing. What that tells us is who is God. He is our shepherd. Who is the Lord? He is our shepherd. So what does that mean? He's our provider. He looks out over us. He protects us. He makes sure we're safe. He makes sure that we have the things that we need. And this verse goes through and describes all of those things. We're going to break that down. There is nothing that I lack. That means God's going to provide everything for us. Now, when I say provide everything, that doesn't mean all of the wants and desires in our heart. I want a Bugatti Veyron. It's a car that costs over $1 million. Guess what? Probably not going to get one of those, but that's okay. But when it says I lack nothing, what that's talking about is the fact that if we need something, God will provide. All right. And He will provide that for us. And we are in a time right now where there's a lot of needs and there's a lot of worry and there's a lot of fear, but we can take solace in knowing that um, we're not going to lack anything and that God is going to provide for us. Um, then he gets into exactly how God is going to provide. Uh, he lets me lie down in green pastures. He leads me besides the quiet waters. He renews my life and he leads me along the right path for his name's sake. And we read this and it sounds like great and wonderful metaphors for just basking and just being in his glory. And they are, but there's deeper meanings because remember, the writer David, if the Lord's the shepherd, that means that David is the sheep, or we are the sheep. And when he says he lets me lie down in green pastures, a sheep won't lie down if it's hungry. A sheep won't lie down if it's afraid. So when it says he lets me lie down in green pastures, it means that we're provided for. We have our bellies full, we feel protected, and we're comfortable enough that we can lay down and bask in his glory. All right. It also says he will lead me beside the quiet waters. Um, Sheep won't drink from a running stream or one that's running too quickly. So a lot of times the shepherd would have to come, and when the water is rushing and rushing and rushing, he would use rocks to kind of create a calm place in the water that the sheep could come and drink, or he would find a place that had a natural calm so that the sheep would be content. And again, that idea of comfort that he's providing, and he's going to work through these things with us. Um, and so he's going to lead us along that right path for his name, or lead us beside quiet water so that we can drink and take comfort in that. And then he leads us along the right paths. This paths is a term for a worn out rut. And the shepherd knew where to go and where to lead, and how to take the sheep and provide for them. And so um, they could trust that the shepherd was going to lead them along the right paths. And even when it seemed rough, he knew where to go. And that's where verse 4 takes us. Even though I go through the dark valley, I will fear no danger, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. We have to trust that God will lead us on the right path. But sometimes, like right now, um, the path we look at around us can be quite scary and can bring fear. But even when we're in these dark times or these hectic and crazy and fearful times that we're in right now, we can trust um, and fear no danger because why? The shepherd is there with us. And here's what I like. I didn't pick up on this until I was reading it. Warren Wiersbe pointed it out to me, and I'm sure there's others who have as well. But I was reading through Warren Wiersbe's commentary, and he pointed this out. Verse 2 and 3, it says, he lets me, he leads, he renews, and he leads. But then here in verse 4, it says, even when I go through the darkest valley, I will fear no danger, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. There's a transition. He goes from talking about what the shepherd has done to what the shepherd is doing. And we can take hope in that today, because it's not that the shepherd's over there. Like when we're in nice green pastures, he's over under a tree, he's watching over us, he's looking out, and we can mule around and do what we want and feel comfortable. But now we're afraid. We're in a dark valley. Where's the shepherd? He's not over there. I'm not talking to my friends about him. I'm talking to the shepherd because why? He's right next to me. He's right here next to us, leading the way, guiding us, walking us through this dark time. So don't feel that you cannot trust in the Lord, or that he's distant from you in this time, or distant from your church family, because he's right here next to us. And that's where we want him to be, because we can look at him, we can talk to him, we can pray to him, we can read his word. And then it talks about his rod and his staff, they comfort me. All right. So a shepherd carried two things, and I do have something. Ah, yes. He had a rod and a staff. Now, I don't have a staff, but I do have a rod. And let me see if I can get you a hold of this. This is an old axe handle of mine that actually, yeah, of mine. I used to work on a fire crew, and I would carry the Pulowski, which has an axe and a grubber on the end. And one day I was chopping down a tree, or chopping up a tree, and it snapped off. And so I kept this. But this would be what a rod would probably look like. It's a strong stick that's used for clubbing and stunning or killing any enemy that can come up. And so the shepherd, he carried a rod, and then he also carried a staff. And most of us know what a staff is. It's a long stick with a crook over the top. The shepherd would use it for guidance. He would use it for counting. He would use it to pick up and examine his sheep. If they fell down in a ravine, he could outstretch it and use the hook to bring them up to his side. But he carried a rod and he carried a staff. I know I don't have a staff, but we're just going to pretend. And the rod was for protection, the staff was for guidance, and those two things are what's there to comfort us. And this is still in the same verse, the context that he is next to us. So that rod and that staff that are guiding us through these dark and fearful times is there for comfort. And we can know that God's got his staff, got his rod out, and he's protecting us, and he's got his staff guiding us and keeping us from straying off of the wrong paths. All right. Then we jump into verse 5 and 6. And verse 5 says, "You prepare a table for me in the presence of your enemies. You anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows." Um, a lot of people think that this is a transition to, from shepherd and sheep to guest and what do you call that? You have a guest, and then when you have somebody over. So I can't remember what that's called, and then the comments aren't working for some reason, so you can't put it in there to help me out. So we're just going to have to go with it. But you're serving, you have a guest over, and and you're preparing a table for them with food and all kinds of things. But I honestly think, and several other commentators I agree with, made the statement that this is talking more about a table as the word, like laying out a tablecloth or preparing the grass. And another form of table is a flat plateau, maybe up on a hill or a mountain, and it would be a table. And the shepherd would lead his sheep down through this dark valley. Uh, with his rod protecting him and with his staff, but then he would bring them out up the mountain and they would come up on this plateau that had a bunch of wonderful great grass that was prepared for these sheep. And so even though they went through that dark valley, they came up on the other side of the mountain, and they come up on this green, grassy, lush plateau or table that they can sit on and that they can eat. And that the shepherd will watch over them and use his rod to protect them from the enemies, and be with them. And so it's that God's preparing. This shepherd have been watching and looking, and while grass stays green for a while, sheep, if you've never seen what sheep do, they like mow it down to the dirt. So after a while, you have to move your sheep. So as the shepherd's watching over, what is he doing? He's looking off in the distance for something or someone to, or a place to take the sheep to. When he saw that table, he takes them up there, and um, he moves through. Um, and so he's prepared that for us. Then it says he anoints our head with oil. Um, this could have a lot of spiritual metaphors, but I want to stay with the sheep and what God did for the sheep and provided for them. A lot of times, the shepherd would take the oil and use it as an ointment if there was a bruise, a cut, or something like that, or he would take it and put it on the top of their head, on their horns, and the top of their head to keep flies and other pests from annoying the sheep. And so, God wants us to. Um, while we go through troubled times, he's also doing his best to protect us. And that oil is his sense of coming in and keeping the flies, keeping those annoying things away from us. And we need to take trust and hope and love that he is always having our best interest and looking out for us. Then lastly, verse 6. Only goodness and faithful love will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord as long as I live. Um, at this point, David's probably looking back at his life as a shepherd, much like a shepherd would do when he would look back at night. He would look over the day. What happened? What went well? How did everything go? And as a shepherd, he probably looked over his sheep and thought, man, they've got goodness, they've got my faithful love, and I'm pursuing them. The shepherd pursues us. That's a cool little metaphor there that we need to take. And he probably looking over his life and he's looking back and he goes, man, despite all my sin, despite all my wrongdoings, all these crazy things that I did, goodness followed me. Faithful love pursued me. God was pursuing me and following me along regardless of what happened or where it went. And when we're in the dark valley, sometimes we might not understand that or feel or know why we're in this valley, or we don't feel that goodness or that faithful love. But a lot of times it's when we're on the other side, when we get up on that plateau, that table, and we look back and we see what's going on and what's happening out there, that we can see how the shepherd guided us through and he brought us to something that was better. And now um, we've he's taken us to the table, he's brought us back, and now we're in his fold. And the fold is a unique thing. It's a stone wall that the sheep would come into, and there would be a gate there, and the sheep would pass through and the shepherd would count them. But then as the sheep laid down and sleep, the shepherd didn't get to go home. He had to stay and watch over the sheep from enemies coming and predators coming at night. And so what did he do? He would lay down in the gate, the opening of this big stone wall, and he would sleep there. And he would look back and he would think over his fold. And even in those darkest times, even at night, even when we're sleeping, God is resting by the gate, protecting us and keeping us safe. So here's the deal, guys. Life's pretty crazy right now. There's a lot of fear, a lot of angst, and a lot of worry. But we can look at this passage and we can know that we have a shepherd who loves us, who cares for us, and who is going to provide for us. He's going to give us everything we need. And when we're in a dark valley like this, he's no longer over by the tree. He's no longer just overlooking. He's there right by our side, walking with his rod and his staff, ready to prepare us, taking us through this valley. Because on the other side, there's a plateau. And that plateau is going to be his eventual return and his um, going to be his eventual return and the kingdom that he promises us, the new heavens and the new earth. And we can take hope and joy in that. So if you get overwhelmed with fear, if you don't know what to do, or you're anxious, or you're just freaking out, open your Bible, Psalm 23, read through it, and remember the shepherd. Remember what we talked about today. All right. So that's kind of the message I had. We're at 25 minutes, which is good. I want to try to do some questions if we can get those, or even thoughts. If you're on here and you had a thought about what I said, you like something I said, or you have a different angle, I want you to kind of put it up in there. But for some reason, it's not able to connect to the chat, so I'm going to try to figure out why. So please bear with me for a few minutes and hang in there so that we can get some questions going. If we can't get any questions going, then then please post your questions. Once this video is completed, I will post it to YouTube. Please go to the comments and post your questions there, or your comments there, and I'll go through and try to answer them and go from there. So let's see. Come on, how does this work? Um, All right. So I'm looking at my other screen here, trying to figure out how to fix chat. Okay, so let me try this. All right. Where is edit? That's a great question, is wouldn't it be? If I could find the edit button. Let me do a pop out chat, see if that refreshes it. Let me see. Okay, yeah, now I'm working. All right, I got it on my next one. Okay, let's see. Hey y'all. Okay. Now I'm going to go through the content, the comments, guys, because I used a pop out chat and got it working. I'm going to put it over here on this screen, and let me read through these. Okay. Um, yes. Oh, good. Thank you, Shani, for telling me you could hear me, even though I couldn't see it. But we got it up now. Everything's going good. Um, Millie Mom asked for prayer for a man who is having a heart attack. We're going to do prayer in just a minute. And so we will definitely pray for him. Um, there's a good question. Who is Warren Wiersbe? That is an amazing question. Warren Wiersbe is a pastor, and he puts together these commentaries. If you're ever looking for a commentary, this is one of the best commentaries out there for um, uh, learning to teach a Bible study lesson, or different things like that. And he's a commentator. He's a pastor. Let's see here. I'll read you his bio from the back, just so you know. Dr. Warren Wiersbe is an internationally known Bible teacher and a former pastor of the Moody Church in Chicago. For 10 years, he served as a general director and Bible teacher for the Back to Bible radio broadcast. Dr. Wiersbe has written over more than 160 books, including the popular B series of the Bible studies, and has sold much more, for that doesn't matter. I mean, he and his wife Betty live in Lincoln, Nebraska, and so these are, as you can see, I've used these a ton over the years, um, but Brother Wiersbe is great. Got great content. It's easy to understand. It's easy to take and teach. And I also use several other commentaries. I use the Expositor's Bible Commentary when I'm preparing. I use the NAC. I use several different study Bibles. I use an HCSB study Bible. I use the MacArthur study Bible. Um, I use probably my favorite is John Selhammer in this little Bible commentary. It's $10 and it is fantastic. Um, and all those things. Now, I will say this: not all commentaries. You're going to get stuff that is different than what you may believe. But commentaries are good because they give you a broad picture and a deeper look into um, different texts. And while they may not agree with everything you believe, they are very helpful and can be helpful there. All right, so let me get over here um, and see. Hey, Corey. Hey, Isaac. Let's see. Then there's a fan. I don't know who that is, but it's good. Let's see here. Thank you, Mara. Um, yes. Uh, Joe, it looks like, I'm guessing that's Joe's daughter, Brianna, asked if that's my old football helmet. Yes, that is my old high school football helmet. And that is my college baseball helmet. For those of you who didn't know that I played baseball in college. And then there'll be other, I've got lots of different helmets that in the different videos, I'm just going to put them in different places. And the idea is try to find them and find which ones. And maybe I'll give away a roll of toilet paper for those of you who can message me or get to me and say, hey, in this video, you put those things. Today, we're not going to do that, but maybe in upcoming videos, we can do that to you guys. Um, Isaac says he has those commentaries. Can I put the details of the Bible commentaries at some point? Yes, I will. And I'm going to recommend the John Selhammer and the Wiersbes. I say Wiersbes as they're the Warren Wiersbe commentary, or the Wiersbe commentary. Those would be the two that I would start with: the expositors and the knack. While they are great, they are very much in depth. They use a lot more language, whereas Selhammer and Wiersbe are more content, more of like a preaching commentary or a teaching commentary. So I'll put that in the comments of this video, and I may even put it on our Instagram and Facebook pages there. So we'll get all of those things on there. Also, let me see if I have one. Um, so for the Wiersbe, the 2 volume set right here that I have is it's about $100, I think, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. But you can also find these types of books by Warren Wiersbe, and basically this is Psalm 90. Um, can you read that, guys? Psalm 90 through 150. So this is just exactly what's in here, but just for some a little bit shorter, a little bit cheaper to buy if you're like doing a study on a specific book of the Bible. In that thing, Marl says she already has too much toilet paper. Well, then give it to somebody who needs it, and we'll give it away. Um, so yeah, I will definitely post the details of those Bible commentaries and different things like that. Um, any other questions? Any other things that I can answer for you guys? Talk about any fears? Um, keep it appropriate, especially some of you middle school boys. Most of their stuff. Let me clarify that. I'm not saying that they're inappropriate, but they ask good biblical questions about guy things, and so we'll just leave it at that. But but if you got any questions or anything, pop those up there, and I would love to answer any questions. Also, be thinking about questions for next week or for different things like that, and put in the comments things you would like to see me talk about in these live videos. And those types of things. So I hope you enjoyed this today. If you did, like it, share it, subscribe, put the bell on, invite all your friends because I want to be doing stuff like this all the time. We're also going to be putting out a lot of video content over the next few weeks. So make sure you subscribe and put the bell on. I know I've said that like 18 times today, but it's important because here's the other thing. Here's one other thing I want to do. If I get to 1,000 subscribers, I can start doing live feeds from a cell phone or from my iPad, and that will allow me to do a whole lot more fun and exciting live videos, like watching me pie Corey in the face, or something like that. Oh, Corey's on the chat. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. I probably shouldn't let him know. But we can do different things like that. And those ideas. But if there's a passage of scripture you want me to look at, if there's a question you have, please post those in the chat or in the comments after the video goes, and we'll go from there. So um, everybody start subscribing. Thanks, Isaac. I appreciate that. It's going to be awesome. Let's see. Tyson Allen Burr asked, "How do you get your beard so glorious?" I'm assuming he's asking, how do you get this glorious beard? Um, that is a great question. Um, I can't believe I'm talking about this, but that's okay. I'm all about it. So I do all my own trimming, all my own taking care of it. I use beard oil on a daily basis. Every time I get my beard wet and I dry it off, I'll put beard oil in, and it helps to style and keep it fresh and lush. I wash my beard about 3 times a week. A lot of people go, "Oh, you get all that, you got to wash it all the time." Well, I rinse it out every day, but you don't want to wash it every day because it dries out the beard. It makes it kind of crasp. It's not as soft. It's not as oily. You want a little bit of those natural oils to keep it fresh and looking as magnificent as it does. So that's how I take care of my beard, and I trim it and keep it there. I need a haircut, and I need to trim it again. But that's how I keep my beard fresh and all those things. So let's see. Let's start scrolling. Boom. All right. Any other questions? Any other thoughts? Any other amazing things? If not, we're almost at 40 minutes. That's amazing. I did not expect it to go 40 minutes long, but I'm excited about it. And thank you guys for joining us. Um, is that no, no, no for like don't stop? Or are my shoes untitled? Explain that a little bit more, a fan. And thanks for being a fan. Um, are my shoes untitled? Are you talking to me or talking to somebody else in the chat? I don't know, but that's okay. Um, let's see what's going on. Well, Mara, give Tyson some slack. He's got my spelling skills, and I can't spell. That's why I'm doing everything by video. So it'll be good. Also, if you'd like to see some interesting videos, let me know. Here's some ideas that I have for videos, and I'd love to hear your comments on it. I'm thinking about doing a movies to watch when you're quarantined at home, crazy snacks to eat when you're quarantined at home, my favorite books of the Bible characters, Bible scriptures. Um, I'm going to do some game reviews, like a game review on Class. Pastor Jeremy and I are going to do one of those here in a minute, and doing some different things like that. So let me know what you'd like to see, and what would happen, and we'll go from there. So it'll be good. All right. If there's no other questions, we're at 40 minutes, and so I'm going to go ahead and in the chat, you guys can keep talking in the comments, and I look forward to next week, next Thursday, 10 a.m. Tell your friends, invite them, and I think it'll be awesome. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys then. So we will see you later. Have a great day. God bless. And remember, Psalm 23, if you're going through worries or are anxious, read through that and help it to calm you down. Have a good day, guys. And follow us on Instagram and on Facebook at Valley Baptist MSM. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, share it, get the bell on for notifications, and tell all your friends about it. Invite everybody you can. Let's get as many people as we can subscribing to this, so I can put out content and reach as many of your friends. Because here's the deal: a lot of you guys are dealing with a bunch of stuff, um, and so are they, and they may not have a relationship with Jesus. And so let's try to remedy that. Have a good one, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.